Well, folks, good morning. Long time no chat. Got a lot of people asking me what my situation is since I haven't been on in a minute. And, you know, if you listen to my last videos, it was pretty self-explanatory. Drive this car for a commute, I'll record it. I just haven't done it. Not in some months, I guess. I could not argue with the fuel economy of my other car. It was just too good of a deal. Today I had this car loaded full of items take to a warehouse, and so I'm driving it on to work from there. And that's that. So what's new? I'm trying to think of the last time I recorded. You know, honestly, the last time I recorded a video, it was coming back from the airport. And I think it was a 40-minute video, but it somehow registered as a 4-hour video, and it was a corrupted file when I downloaded it. And you know, after talking for 40 minutes to nothing, losing it forever, I got a little sour. It was disappointing. It was I didn't know how to fix it or what to do about it. Let's make sure I'm on the right road here. 435. 430, and they're telling me to keep going. Yeah. 435 east. That's the road. This is a town called Lenexa, Kansas. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about Lenexa. They once said it is the new Leawood. There was some development and things, not here, but in other areas. Yeah. Oof, I think I'm blocked from my turn. We had some close calls today. The traffic was not good. There's a road under construction, and I can't fit. I had to make some stops, and I ended up having some cargo fly up into hit me in the arm, because the stops were sudden and hard, and all that. So let's hope for a smoother ride back. $35. So, end of K10. Going back towards 69. Okay, we're on the right road. We did it. We did it. So what do we got going on? What's this car been doing? You think it's been sitting in the driveway doing nothing? No. It's been put to work. Mr. Jim's business here, that's me. I have a business. This car's being put to work about, I would say, an average of 2 days every week to go out and do some commercial work. I get to pay myself, do not merge into me, I get to pay myself 68 cents a mile roughly for every mile that it gets driven in the service of the business. So that helps pay for its gasoline consumption and maintenance. But it's that it's got a different life now. The bracket that I'm using to hold the phone, the employee uses it to put his phone in it so that he can run his GPS directions from stop to stop where he's got to go for service calls. So, at least for the next few months, I don't think I'll be daily driving this car or anything close to it, because it is a service vehicle. I want to keep it maintained and ready for that purpose. I don't want to put unnecessary wear and tear and mileage on it that could cost my business money should the car have a failure. So for the most part, I take it out for, you know, the same reasons an owner would use a car, to refuel it, or maybe I'll take it to get some maintenance done, things of that sort. And that's pretty much that. It's a different life for the commuter, a different life for the car. And, so that's what we're doing these days. Should I continue the series using a different car that's not a 20-year-old Escalade? I don't know. That's what was remarkable about the series to me. I don't know. If you have thoughts, leave them for me. Make a comment or something like that. I'm still gathering followers on social media, which I think is interesting given my lack of posting. I've even had my subscribers tick up a little bit, even though I'm providing nothing to them. Hopefully this video will not be corrupted and it'll at least give you an update. I did not have a particular agenda, but I would say if there's one thing that my drive earlier this morning could have captured, is the real importance of following construction zone speed limits. Because you have the benefit of engineers who have looked at the road, curvature of the road, terrain of the road, pattern of the lanes, as well as an average, you know, road user, and they calculated a speed limit. And when they tell you it's 50, not 55, there is a reason for that. And it is based on math and science. Today, I learned firsthand what happens, especially when you're loaded. You have to also alter those things for anything unique to your vehicle. If you are a loaded down truck, like I was, you need more time to stop. I mean, I really thought twice I was going to get into an accident. An accident that was really connected to the fact that I had to go from 60 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour rather quickly. And the ability of this car to do that, weighing 7,000 plus pounds and containing a few hundred pounds of cargo, in addition to me, in addition to, you know, somewhat aged brakes, it's just not good. This thing doesn't stop like the cars you see in front of me. It just doesn't do it. The reason these speed limits are reduced is to prevent accidents. Now here I am cruising at 72 miles an hour. No idea why I'm going so fast. Probably because, no, it doesn't make any sense. It feels natural, the car's lighter, drives a little different. Heck, I'm lighter. I'm probably 30 pounds lighter than the last time I made a video. You know, weight like that does matter. They'll tell you, I can remember when gas prices got really high, people were taking the tailgates off their truck. They were taking the spare tire out of their car just to reduce the extra weight. Even in my day, I remember putting the tailgate down on the truck so that it would hang open and not cause wind drag. You know, the wind could fly through the bed without catching on the bed of the truck, right? Anything you could do to save $1 on gasoline. I mean, I can remember those days. My point is that weight matters for the engine, taxation, and fuel consumption. It really does make a difference. And it's not that you can make it better. There's going to be a peak speed, a peak economy level for all engines. But the question is, how far off that peak do you go? I can make this car get 9 miles a gallon, or I can make it get 17. It's all up to me. Like I said, you don't make it better. You can't make it go from, you're not going to make it exceed the EPA, rated levels. But the question is, how far do you veer off of those levels? Aggressive driving, erratic driving, quick stops and starts, hard accelerations, all those things push the needle in the wrong direction from a fuel economy point of view. I just realized I could have gone home and switched cars. Now I feel kind of dumb. Would have added a little bit of time. Oh well. That's okay. Believe it or not, though, this car is getting highway time. It's not from me, but it is being driven on a highway about once a week, which is what I would want. During COVID, I think it was once every week or 2 weeks, I would take it on a highway just to get it up to those speeds and turn around and drive back. Or I think I drove a neighbor somewhere just to have an excuse to drive the car and do things like that. In its heyday, which was not long ago. Okay, let's go back Christmas time. 6 months ago, we had this car with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had 6 or 7 people in this car for outings. Really not long ago. And of course, then I had that was the Christmas light tour before Christmas. Shortly after Christmas, I bought the new car, which made this one redundant, but I kept driving it due to habits, preferences. I have now pushed my other car to about 124,000. Excuse me. I have now pushed my other car to, goodness gracious, the other car is at 124,000 miles, which seems high to me. I bought it at, I don't know, 60. Maybe less. It's probably right about 60 because that was how much you could put on a lease, most likely. Driving it on the highway every day, it's 1,000 miles a month, about. I'll start to add up. Probably a little more than that. So at first I thought, put the miles on this, it's not going to make a big difference. But when I realized that the cost per mile was double, I said, I can do a lot with $100 a month or whatever. It's just hard to justify. And at first we put premium fuel in the other car, and that made it not much different because the premium fuel was a lot more expensive for high volume driving. But also, it wasn't getting fantastic fuel economy. And the reason is my wife was driving it. Not that she's a bad driver, but she's less gentle than I am. But not only that, she's not a highway driver, right? So I would look at the car and say, it's getting 20 miles a gallon, I'm getting 16. Where's the real benefit? Where's the real difference? The difference is that if her car had been taken on the highway, it could get about 30 miles a gallon. And 30 is almost double 16. It's more than double. No, is it? No, it's not double, but it's darn close. So for the first few weeks, I obsessively watched the MPG meter. I would set the cruise control to 65 and just religiously follow the right things you're supposed to do. I made it a game to essentially maximize fuel economy, right? And I would just watch it. And I came to the realization that if you drive perfectly, you can get 31 miles a gallon, but eventually you're going to need to go to the grocery store or something, and it's going to go down to 28, it's going to go down to 27. There's going to be variance, but the point of it is you're just getting a better deal. Instant fuel economy 26. Average, it's interesting, my average fuel economy has gone down by a tenth to 16.3. It had been 16.4 for a long time. I would imagine you could chalk that up to not running the air conditioner in the wintertime, which is supposed to tax your... I set the air conditioner to 72 and I'm fine. My employee sets it to max cold, which strikes me as unnecessary. But every time I get in here, it's set on maximum cold, and I'm thinking, is that really necessary? Does that really help you that much? I don't know. But that might affect the fuel economy as well, running it on max cold. I had the system serviced not long ago. Had a lot of leaks. I kept getting it fixed. I don't know. This is kind of boring to me, so let's find something fun to talk about. What is something fun to tell you? The first time I purchased a keg of beer, I managed to empty that keg of beer in one weekend. It wasn't all me, of course. I had help. Usually there's leftovers and it's got to be emptied out. Not this time. This time we had lots of folks partaking, but I also decided to spread it out over 2 nights. I got the keg the night before my event and said, you know what, I'm going to enjoy some of it tonight. Anybody else who wants to have some, have some. And there weren't a lot of takers on it, but there were a few. So we put a dent in it before the event began, so that when you're exhausted and the event's over, you're not going to want, the last thing you're going to want is to drink any more after you're exhausted and tired. So by pre-gaming your pre-game, I feel like that was a much smarter move. You know, if you're having an event, event on a Saturday, tap your keg on a Friday, keep it iced overnight through the next day, and then hit that thing right back up the next afternoon. Worked out well. So that's kind of fun. I also learned the ins and outs of a frozen drink machine. I don't know if it's sensitive teeth or what it is, but I've never been a fan of snow cones or frozen things. Ice cream sandwich I can do. Ice cream, anything on ice cream I can do ice cream, but in terms of like ices and slushies and snow cones, I never cared for that stuff. So I ignored it most of my life, but this weekend we had a machine that made frozen beverages. Made a frozen beverage for children and one for adults. And I thought neither one of them tasted good because it's not my thing, but plenty of other people enjoyed it. I learned a little bit about how these machines work. It's not intuitive. And more importantly, I learned that I could carry one myself, which I was really questioning. I had help moving it the first time. The second time, I just sort of stared at it and said, this could destroy me. If it hurts my back, I end up on painkillers. I end up on fentanyl and I'm dead. This is the consequence of trying to lift something you shouldn't lift. You know, that's just a realistic situation. So is this worth the risk? So I decided to try. I had to get it down from a surface. And it was heavy and it's boxy and square, and the leg caught my shorts. So I'm holding this really heavy refrigerator type device and I'm trying to set it down, but it's caught on a pair of like athletic shorts. And my hands are clasped around the machine. I'm trying to set it down, but these shorts are stuck on it. I mean, really stuck. This thing's got to be 80 pounds. And I'm thinking, what do I do about this? So I set down the back two corners, and I free up one hand, and I try to dislodge the fabric from this leg. And it is really tight. It's either going to rip a hole in the shorts, or the shorts are going to spring back and knock the machine over. And it has a plastic topper. The topper will crack and break, and I'm going to have to buy a new machine for these people. It's probably a $2,000 machine. So I'm not thrilled. Like, this is a sign that I have made a mistake, you know? So I use the one hand, I reach around my first leg over to the other leg, because it's not on the same side of my hand, it's the opposite side. So I free my left hand and I reach across the other leg under the machine and I try to free this fabric. I mean, it is really caught up under there. It's like pulling a bungee cord that's been stretched too far. To get the pants free, to get the machine down, I decided to buy a dolly, an investment in my back, my future. Less than $100, metal, no pneumatic tires, so I don't have to worry about tires going flat. And now I've got to get the dolly to lean back with this machine on it without touching the top half of it, because the top half is all plastic tank. It's breakable, heavily breakable. Moves, it's, you pressure on it. The bottom half is heavy metal compressor aluminum. So I'm trying to figure out how to lean this thing back, because you have to pull down the top of the dolly without knocking it over. But you also have to get the weight up underneath the machine. It was a huge hassle. Anyways, I did it. I hauled it up a hill. Then we had the next challenge, which is the amount of clearance in this car that's driving it back. It's less than 1 inch from the headlighter. So I've got to fit it in the car. I can't overshoot it, and I can't go too far to either side because I'll break the plastic off. But this is the hardest part to me, is I have to pick this item up from the ground level and get it up into an SUV. My bar counter would have been too tall. I don't think I could have done the bar counter by myself. This I thought was achievable. So I anchored with my arms, lifted with my legs. It was really a good lesson in good behavior, because I could have thrown my back out very easily moving this machine. So that was done. I had quite an event. You know, I had to move a lot of things, pick up a lot of things. Some of the stuff I got was so heavy that I just called the company and I said, I'm not going to be able to get this back to you. I know my limits, and I'm enforcing them, even if it is financially problematic. I mean, this one item, I could not even hardly push it down a hill. And that is just not something you need to screw with. No, thank you. Someone just gave me the flash like there's a police enforcement ahead. There often is here in Blue Springs up ahead. Well, I gotta say, this car's driving smoothly. I spent Friday, I did not work Friday. I spent Friday doing driving and hauling all day, 10 hours at least, from 7:30 a.m. until 6 p.m., something like this. Finally, that's what made me get the keg going. I was just exhaustivo. And where I screwed up was I probably stayed up too late that night. So then Saturday came along, and I'm tired. I have a ton more work to do. We were working on things from probably 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Really how long it took. And then at some point I got to sit back and put my feet up. I would say that was about 8:30 at night, Saturday night. Then I stayed up too late again. Get up on Sunday, assess the damage. It was significant. A lot of trash everywhere. Not sure it was all worth it, but that was made. The acts were done, and that's that. So it can't be said that I don't have fun, or that I'm the most boring person on the planet. I won't go that far. Horse Distilling. I've had some of their things. It's not bad. I believe they're based in Lenexa, Kansas, the town we were just in 30-40 minutes ago. F-150. Interesting. Never seen that before. You can see the Union Horse van, I think, here pretty clearly. Never seen a van from them before. But I was gifted some bottles, a sampler set, once upon a time. And I found it was a rye, a bourbon, and whiskey. Regular whiskey, if I recall. They were all drinkable, I thought. I didn't run out and buy more, but that's not my style. I don't think I've purchased a bottle of spirits in quite some time. But they do tend to materialize in my home. Various reasons. I did buy my first, well, it's okay, it wasn't my first case of wine, but it was my first case of mildly expensive wine I've probably ever bought. It was $10 a bottle before tax, which to me, a lot to drop on wine at one time. Not only that, it was a wine I'd never tried. And you might think, what would possess a person to buy a case of wine they've never tried? And I'd go as further to say, it's a case of wine I never tried, and when I did try it, I didn't like it. But it was for the frozen drink machine, so I wasn't going to like it anyways. Might have liked a margarita, but I don't like frozen margaritas, so it was really all not for me, it was for other people. And at the end of the evening, we maybe had one bottle left of product that had to be thrown away. So whoever drank it all, I mean, they drank a keg and 11 bottles of wine. I'm kind of impressed. I don't know where all this stuff went, or it must have gone out to a lot of people, because I don't remember anybody being too drunk. So it just must have been, you know, people stop by, have a glass, and they leave, and not stop by and have 5 glasses and leave. But I was concerned, because I see someone fill up, you know, a full-size glass. You know, a standard wine pour is what, 6-9 ounces. 6 ounces is a small pour. 9 ounces is a big pour. They were pouring 12 to 16 ounce servings of pure wine. It was obviously slushified, but there was no additives. There was no ice added. That was the benefit of the machine, right? So it was a strange thing to see that, because you wouldn't normally think of a pint glass full of wine. I did see at least 1 or 2 people with a pint glass full of wine, and I'd think, oh, help you. I hope you know what you're getting into with that. I poured a small sample. Did not like it at all. Keg beer, I enjoyed it. I kept it cold. I had a better system for it. It was only the second full-size keg I've ever had, but I felt like I did a thing or two correctly this time. That was good. Well, folks, we are just about to the end of the line here. It's been nice to get back with you, and I'm glad there's been nothing too remarkable on this leg of the drive here. No accidents or trouble. Not even a slowdown, so good deal. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off and say be safe, and here we are at 266,840